We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. In Mark's wonderful words just there, we're slightly late, but fashionably late. So apologies for that. Right. Okay. Just a quick one. I'm Charlie. This is Mark, and this is Barry. We're all here to try and make your lives easier. So if you're organising events, you're in the business of putting an event together on behalf of either your client or anybody else, or just putting an event together, you want to make sure you're listening to this, because we're trying to demystify and to simplify the process of how we're helping resolve this. And last week, as a little trio, we discussed the search element on the platform, which basically involved you as a event host going out there and looking. And sorry, we must not use the word host. I apologise. We're not hosts. We're not confused anyone. Yeah. People organising events are clients. If I step wrong, tell me, and I'll get it rectified. I'm sorry. But so last week we discussed the subject of searching for the ease for searching for suppliers, and we had the three ways. You could either go straight onto the platform and search for a particular product or a service provider or venue. We had the event request for proposals, which enabled you as a host to go out there and project quotes out into the market and receive them back directly to you. And then, of course, we've got this super yet to be implemented, but in the works, the possibility of prompting you as a client, because many of us don't really know an awful lot about how you go into it and start putting an event together. So we are able to help with that by presenting themes for you that you can go and go, well, that's interesting. My event is around that particular subject, and it just basically speeds up the process. But that's all in work in progress at the moment, and will be online very shortly. So that aside, today what we wanted to do is try and take it a step further and discuss the elements, or discuss the point at which you have now found a number of clients, suppliers, if you like, vendors on the platform. How do you actually go about now deciding which of those to engage with, if you like? And so I think let's start with that, Mark. Let me throw it to you first. Tell us in simple terms how we go about this, please.
Well, first of all, I think the first main point, as you just described, is the fact that we want what we want, and we want it fast. So what we discussed last week is, giving people multiple avenues so that they can quickly get to the suppliers that they're going to need, the product, the venue, the service for their specific event. But now, once you've got these, you want to make sure that you choose the right person for your event. You're going to fork out anywhere between $100 to, for various people, that amount is important. If it's a private birthday party, if you're spending $100, it's important. If it's a big conference and you're spending $1 million, that's important as well. And you want to make sure that that money is well spent and that your guests are happy. So one of the first ways one of the first features that we have implemented on the Eventerprise platform to create that kind of transparency and make it easier for clients to compare apples with apples is reviews.
Yeah.
The fact is that feedback, and you can go, you guys can go out there and go look at the stats, but 90% of us look at reviews before we actually make a purchase these days.
Can I just quickly interrupt? Yeah. What I want you, the viewers, to understand is that as much as I'm part of the Eventerprise platform, what have you, and I have spent many years as a supplier, a vendor to the industry, my role right now, and will always be in these sort of Q&A, sort of roundtable sessions, is to always represent the client. In other words, the person looking for these vendors and services. So I'm going to pick these guys up on elements that don't make sense to me or I need clarifying. So please remember that I am the client, and if you want me to ask client questions on your behalf, drop them down there and I'll get them up there.
Absolutely,
okay.
We're ready for them. So let's get back to reviews, because it's a central tenet of any neutral, transparent industry platform. Without it, there is no transparency. So we have actually built our own in-house review system to make sure that those reviews can be added as quickly and seamlessly as possible. But what is more important today is the fact that you, as the client, the consumer, can go and say, okay, I've got 5 quotes. Thank you very much for sending them through so fast to Eventerprise. But now let's go and see which one is going to be the best for me. So your first stop is to see, do these guys actually display reviews on their profiles? There are certain question marks. We've got to be careful. I don't think we want to hammer the guys who just started out. Yeah. We still have to build up their client base. But that's why on the profiles, we will tell you exactly when the business started as well. So you've got that context. If the business has been going for 10 years and there's not one single review, there should be certain warning signals going off. You would find that some suppliers are a bit hesitant about displaying, and this is a little bit of a supplier-focused comment now. It has also been proven from a lot of research that a 3 or a 4-star review instead of a 5-star review is still more powerful than 0 reviews at all. Most of us perceive the fact that you're willing to put it out there and to take feedback from your clients so that you can hopefully improve your business or service as a positive. So displaying reviews is definitely your first stop. These days, if you look at the analysis they've done of the Amazon platform, for example, most people look at up to 10. I think the average is about 10 reviews. So for all the suppliers out there, you need to start getting on with it. We've also actually made it quite easy. Suppliers now have that little block. You can just insert your client's email address in there, pop it off to them, and they can quickly get it. So there's actually no excuse for not having those reviews on your profile.
Yeah. Why? Just on that, and I'm all behind this because for me as a supplier in the olden days, it was common sense for me that no one knew who I was. No one knew who I was at the time, so I needed my customers to speak on my behalf, and that's just so.
That's the old word of mouth.
Yeah, the old word of mouth. Whether it was not necessarily word of mouth, but I needed you as a client or a customer having employed my services to go out there and shout from the rooftops that, well, not shout from the rooftops, but verify it and that my service or product was well received, neat, tidy, we were on time and everything else. So, but to me, it's such an elementary component of a sales process. I will always look out for reviews as a client. Remember, I'm you guys.
I think what often happens is that suppliers get so bogged down in their day-to-day activities that they forget about the importance of that. That's when they are bona fides. And I also think there are other times when there's a cynical motive behind it, where they don't want to display that. And nothing has really changed from back in the day to now, because now it's just using a digital platform in order to get exactly the same kind of feedback. I may not know your client, but I'm able to trust that client's feedback because it's on a neutral platform. Yeah, yeah. And maybe it's very important just to state this. Yes, of course, you can put reviews or a business can put reviews on their own website. But how on earth are you going to trust those reviews? They could be made up. They could be, just get a buddy to pop them over there. And that is why we have built this bespoke system that makes sure that those are verified with identity verified reviews on each supplier profile. Yeah. Which is crucial for the transparency aspect of
it's strange, isn't it? I mean, in today's day and age, we trust complete strangers to endorse or to criticize a product before we listen to or trust the actual vendor, him or herself. I mean, it's ludicrous, but that's where it's all going.
Well, I think after 20, 30 years of hardcore in-your-face advertising, of field sales-driven activity, where it's almost the used car salesman sort of mentality. I'll tell you whatever I need to tell you to sell you this product. I think the public in general, people, clients who plan events or are looking for event suppliers have become cynical to the point, your point earlier. And so it then makes sense that I would trust Mark's opinion about your business before I trust your opinion directly until we work together.
Yeah, I would actually take it a bit further and say that I would trust Barry, who I don't know's opinion, more than your buddy's opinion, because that's just become more cynical about how business is done. Every single day there's a new scandal about cartels and in the background even the big platforms have been taken to task recently for the fact that there's a little bit of working behind the scenes between each other. So we actually trust people who we don't know more than we would trust people that you would, for example, know.
And so here is something that I want to sort of get off my chest, because it's been as I say, I've been in the industry for a long time, and to me, I believe that reviews in the events industry are absolutely more important than probably any other industries. And here's why. Because for many hosts, clients looking to host events, the events industry is seen, or can be perceived, if you like, at times, to be a little bit shotgun, a little bit sort of, possibly a little bit unprofessional, because there are no barriers to entry and predominantly very little in terms of qualifications that are required to qualify us as event professionals in the eyes of a client. And as a result of that, a review, an independent review from somebody who, as Mark was saying, we don't know or we've never met, becomes that sort of instant pre-qualification for being perceived as, not so much perceived, but being accepted as a professional in the events industry. Do you follow my thinking?
I think it's almost part of your ongoing certification as an event professional.
Ongoing certification, your ongoing credibility. Yeah, I like that. That's exactly how I see it. I mean, you and I were talking about this yesterday.
We're copywriting that term, by the way. Ongoing event certification. Yeah.
Look, it's not to say that the industry in general, that I know there are all sorts of facets across the events industry, and I'm not sidetracking here, I just want to throw something in, that are producing qualifications that are verified and approved and under certain event associations, if you like, and trade bodies that list their own qualifications. And those are great things to have. I mean, because it does help to obviously instill the confidence in a client. But we shouldn't have to rely on these things. We should, on these qualifications, if you like. We are professionals in what we do. We, the event suppliers, are professionals in what they do. But that a review from somebody completely impartial is so important.
Well, I think you've opened up quite an interesting question. Should a potential client look at industry qualifications? And there are a lot, but it's never been properly benchmarked in my opinion. You can go to a little bush college and you can get something called an event management diploma these days. I can't see how that can compete with real world feedback from an actual client. I think that type of ongoing certification is that's just the terminology we've picked today, is far more important and far more valuable for a client than a piece of paper, and you've got no idea where that piece of paper is from. Well, with all due respect to people who've done the studies, but I don't think that proves that you're going to be a great. I think there are many more moving parts and things that play a role in the successful execution of an event than ticking off a few boxes on college.
Yeah, I think to the point around college and qualifications, let's take the conversation out of events for a second. If you are a hiring manager or if you are applying for a position or a job, often who do the potential employers speak to? Your current or previous employers, your references, ultimately your reviews. Yes, you may have a 3 or 5 or 7 year degree on your resume, on your portfolio, but ultimately employers look for reviews.
It's a given. It's a given. If you've got that piece of paper, you know how to put a tent up, or you know how to bake a cake.
But
the emphasis is still on the
and so it would actually be very interesting to see what some of the event professionals out there, event businesses, what do you think, of what I mean, we're being a little bit contentious, we're throwing it out there. What is your view on it? Do you like it if your clients are able to judge you on the basis of reviews, or should they just look at your, certifications or qualifications?
Yeah. Okay. So now this does open that can of worms, because you can presenting a review of a particular service or a supplier. I used to be able to hold my head up high and I'd welcome a bad review because I'd rectify it. And I would have thought that.
But you know what to rectify once you get a review.
Absolutely right. But hopefully the review of me rectifying a problem because of a review would be twice as valuable down the line.
Absolutely. I mean, it's. I don't want to bring regionalism into it, but the South African site, hellopeter.com. And I'm not punting them, I've got nothing, and we have nothing to do with them whatsoever. They did some research on this, and the companies who responded and resolved negative reviews landed up over a period of time with the highest positive, in other words, more people become advocates for their business, they had a higher satisfaction rate, over a financial year, etc. So it definitely, there's evidence that a negative review can lead to positive feedback.
Okay, so now, because you can understand that there will be people out there, no doubt, that will be hesitant to put their heads on the block and be reviewed by their peers. Now, for fear of competition or from people that, it doesn't matter who, but you can see there's a risk there for people to be.
That's not cut it in the year 2017. I'm just going to throw that out there. Because all of us get reviewed. It doesn't matter almost any job that you do these days, because the visibility of our working lives has been heightened to such an extent over the past 2 decades. I think all of us have become used to it.
I agree. That my point in time. So, as a client, as somebody looking for a supplier, if there are no reviews, something, in my opinion, is fishy. And
the only exception to that rule is the new people starting out.
New kids on the block, guaranteed. But then, but as you say, then there's the element that indicates how long that company's been in service. So you can qualify that off against.
And we're going to dig into that in a moment. I think with Bruce, but I would love to hear what both clients, regular clients, do you look at reviews, or do you just stick with what you've been told? I think there's often also from a client perspective, there's a little bit of a, I will just do what I'm told. In other words, if I'm working for a company and I've been delegated to organize the event, I'll just quickly go and ask 1 or 2 people out there. So maybe we should also mention the fact that there's an onus, because it's not always only private individuals who organize events. Sometimes it's someone within a company context who has been delegated to organize an event. I think part of the due diligence in doing your job properly is to actually go and look at those reviews.
Very good point. I know you're itchy to say something, but I think that what you just said there is very important, because I am now a person who's just been thrust into the limelight on behalf of a corporate client to put together a corporate event. At this moment in time, have no understanding of how an event comes together, but I need every possible help I can get. Now, if I can take my thought process of having selected vendors and suppliers on the basis of their reviews, I can then go to my boss or whoever and say that my qualification for selecting a supplier, vendor, whatever, has been well thought through, and there's the proof of it. Okay, I have done what I've done. I'm spending the company's money wisely, and everybody else has recommended them as well. So it is a hand-holding exercise, but complete and absolute verification of you making the right choices.
Absolutely, and it follows the process. We're all used to, the boss says, get 3 quotes and then make a decision. But nobody tells you how do you make a decision out of those 3 quotes.
Yeah.
So there's part of it, but there's more. Okay. It's not just reviews. So let's talk a little bit about the context. So Eventerprise, what we do, those watching, Eventerprise.com, go check it out. So you can search, and if you're in the events industry, Eventerprise.com/pricing, if you want to go and check out how do you get your free, it's worth about $50, by the way. It's a free profile, all your business details, and that's the next point. Mm-hmm. So the Eventerprise profile allows event businesses to add all their details, your contact details, a description of your company, the year that you founded, the main areas that you focus on.
In the same way, a LinkedIn profile might appear for Does that work? Yeah, exactly that.
Exactly.
So, many of us have LinkedIn profiles, I'm sure, but
it's better than a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, of course it is.
Because you can add videos, you can add images. And let's just talk about videos first, because we've already mentioned the fact that you can pick up salient details like, when did this company start? So, I mean, some of us are hesitant to use a company that only started out, but maybe they're able to get into a market, they can give you very good quotes, whatever. We're not going to get into that. That's not our business. Our business is to give advice based on the evidence that you can find on the profile. And one of that is videos. A video of a previous event that a supplier has managed or played a role in. Images of their products and their services. Just video feedback from previous clients, like a video testimonial, etc. So there's a context as well that is boosted by these Eventerprise profiles. Instead of just taking a piece of information almost in a vacuum, you can actually now go and say, okay, but this guy has got 10 videos of 10 events. People are using him, so that looks like it. You can actually go and look at the event that the guy ran, or how he actually implements his service or product and gain some more. Are you comfortable with the way that he or she they do their jobs? I think that's also very important. Is there any detail of the example that I may have forgotten?
Just before you ask that, as a client, I'm assuming that I'm looking at videos that could be uploaded in real time, right? I mean, so you, a supplier or a vendor on your side, you're at an event, or you've just completed an event, and what have you. If you are on your mobile, you can get to your dashboard, if you like, and catapult it up into the real time. Yeah. Okay, I want to clarify.
To your point, Mark, the way I would view it from someone planning an event or looking for a supplier for my event, the question I would ask is, why should planning my event be any different from choosing the hotel I'm going to stay at on my next vacation, or the room I'm going to rent on the Airbnb, or the person I'm going to hire to my team? And for events, maybe it's even more important, because to your point, you don't want to be sitting there at that event and for things to go wrong. The stakes are almost a little bit higher because it is such a short-term thing. For those few hours, you want to be sure that the people that you've hired to provide their services or their venue or their products for your event are the absolute best people you can find. In the same way that you want to make sure that you hire the right people on other platforms, or you have to find the best hotel or accommodation for your trip, or even booking movie tickets. I mean, it's almost natural to go to IMDb and say, okay, so this movie is out. What's the rating? What are the reviews like? So why should it be any different for an event where the stakes are arguably a lot higher?
That's the great irony is that an event can be one of the most expensive things that you spend money on during your lifetime. It will invariably be one of the most expensive ones, but it's still the one where people don't go and check out all the details and information before they make that decision. It's almost like a constant gamble that's being done, and it's on a quite a large scale, because it happens both in the private sphere with people planning, weddings, birthday parties, and things, and also with corporate events as well.
Yeah, and
it's quite scary.
Yeah, and I've got to keep coming back to this point, because to me it is important, and that is that anyone can get into the events industry. Okay, anybody. It's open shop. You don't need qualification. I've gone down that road, so I'm not going back down that. But as a client looking in and understanding that, because let's face it, I think a lot of people outside of the events industry look a little bit through skeptical eyes at the event industry sometimes, because people can, moonlight in the event industry. It might not necessarily be their full-time
fly-by-nighters,
good phrase. But so, and all the more reason for having reviews on your particular service or offering, because people could see you as just somebody coming in from the side to earn a cheap buck or what have you.
I think a lot of this has got to do with information sharing. The reviews and also the detail on your business profile. I mean, how much information are you willing to share with potential clients? And it is a statement of your good intentions, your bona fides, if you are going to add as much information as possible so that your potential client can make the most informed decision possible. It's bottom line is what it is about, I get so excited I'm almost falling off my chair. The bottom line is it is about having respect for your client.
Absolutely.
And that respect actually goes beyond, it's not just about Eventerprise, by the way. And I think that will bring us to the next thing that you can go check out if you want to vet your potential supplier. And how do they conduct themselves with regards to the client experience across the board, everywhere else. We live in a very digital world these days. That's how we communicate. We don't go through, the yellow pages anymore. We do go online. We send emails. We instant message. We check out social media profile pages, etc. So there's another way of checking if your event supplier is actually up to scratch, and that is to see how much time and attention and effort have they spent. And these are not things that are massively time intensive, by the way, but have they actually spent time on making sure that your digital experience, getting in touch with them, getting all of their information, accessing their website, etc., is that a fast and productive experience, or is it you have to scratch around for the information? I did a test a while ago comparing a few event suppliers in various localities, and it's surprising how many don't have basic details available. It's almost like you have to play Sherlock Holmes in order to find out anything about this business. But they're very prominent on let's say a directory anyway, but you can't find any other information. So, or you get to a website and it looks like something that Sir George Bernard Lee at the things of the web actually designed as a prototype back in '92. That boils down to how much respect you have for your client's time and for the effort that they're actually putting in to go and try and find you.
Yep.
And there's a way that you can check.
Right.
And Barry's itching to tell everyone.
Okay, Barry.
Yeah. Eventerscore.com.
Oh, say it again.
Eventerscore.com.
Right.
We'll share the link up in the comments for
We'll
everyone.
pop it down there for everyone.
Just quickly, real world example. You would not be ordering food in a restaurant when the place is dirty, when there are dirty plates on the table, when the wait staff has, stains on their
Cockroaches
shirt.
running all over the place. Yeah.
Yes, rodents and the works that are running through the place. So bring that same sort of logic online and it reinforces Mark's point. So Eventerscore.com. What it allows you as a client to do is check on the quality of the potential event suppliers' digital presence. Are they active online? Do they have a website? If yes, great. Do they have social media presence? Again, to your point about information sharing and making themselves available to their clients. And again, what is the quality of that presence? Are they active? Are they making use of it? Or did they have someone throw, did they have their neighbor's cousin's niece throw a website together for them 5 years ago and they haven't looked at it since? So Eventerscore.com works very easily. You enter the web address, the URL of the potential supplier you are considering doing business with, and it runs a calculation. It scans for the information available about that potential supplier online, and it gives you an Eventus score, a ranking to tell you this is what this potential supplier's or the supplier's digital presence is like. So, for example, an important point to make, and I think it might be the one you're about to touch on, this does not speak to the quality of that supplier's work.
Yeah, very important.
Right? You may have the best event or wedding cake maker, let's use that example, who bakes the most delicious, most beautiful cakes, but their digital presence is not up to scratch. The Eventus score will be an indication of the quality of their digital presence, not on the quality of their product or service. That's what the reviews are for. So,
it's a clue.
Yeah, it's a clue. It helps you make a more informed decision. So when you combine the reviews on the profile with the Eventus score, with the images and video and description and links to social media, because all of this adds context, adds information, and just helps you as the client make a more informed decision.
Absolutely. Okay. I think it's also worthwhile just emphasizing that Eventus score was not built to give 100 out of 100 for the type of website where unicorns and fairies jump out of the screen and kiss you on both cheeks and all of that. It is based on the basic, minimum standards that should apply when it comes to a decent website. And let me just reiterate the three things that I looked at. It's your
and this isn't us. This isn't us. We're not feeding.
It's a global. It's a global standard. Yeah. These are the things that digital presence. What should we call it? A tool to test the digital presence that they are based on. The website quality, does it load fast? Is it readable? Can you read it on your mobile phone quickly? So you want to add?
No, that was it. I was endorsing that.
The second one is how active is the supplier on social media platforms? And the third one is, does the supplier belong to a third-party industry platform? Those are the three things that I looked at. So if they do not belong to a third party, and this is where everything connects. Well, now we're connecting all the dots now, because that independent platform is where you can place your reviews, because that is all about transparency. So that plays a role in the Eventus score as well. So it is not about raising the bar so high that no one can ever score well. It's just about putting the basic minimum standards in place to ensure that or to rate the digital experience for clients and consumers out there.
Okay, so I quickly want to tap on one of those things. One of those particular elements, to me, is crucial. And as a client, verifying or vetting somebody, I want to be able to do it on the run. And I want it to appear on my mobile. And I think being able to sort of judge a client's mobile friendliness for me, to judge a supplier's mobile friendliness for me as the client is would be absolutely essential. So what you're saying is that the Eventer score is gauged on a supplier's mobile friendliness.
It's one of the factors.
Sure. So I just wanted to clear that, because for me that would be hugely important.
Yeah, okay. Rates the digital experience that they deliver to visitors or users of their websites, and also rates if they're not even available. You are not going to have a high score if you don't belong to an industry platform, because it means that you don't care that much about transparency.
So does the Eventer score, for instance, on a profile, on a supplier profile that I might search for on the platform, does the Eventer score come up on that person's profile immediately? I mean, is it sort of one of those sort of verification tools? So I go up onto that, and there it is.
So what we've done is as part of the Eventer score, each supplier gets a badge, and that badge has got the score within that supplier's event category.
It's embedded.
So it will be on the profile, and you will be able to see that if that supplier operates, let's say, in catering, and they've got an 82% score, that means out of the catering section, their presence is fairly good at 82.
I just want to touch on the workings of Eventer score again, just to expand on what we talked about earlier, because there will be people out there who see this who have never used any kind of let's say AdWords trading or testing tool.
When you say people, you're talking about
clients, people, the general public, would not have used something like this before. I just want to throw out a few comparisons. So when you use the default Google currency exchange calculator, when you use, some of us, maybe your BMI calculator because you want to track your fitness, when you use tools to check different time zones, tax calculators, home loan affordability calculators, all of these sort of this is what Eventer score is, and there's a second component to this which touches on the point you made, Charlie, which is that this is not, again, our opinion on anything. We've simply assembled the technology and put it together, but these are all industry standard, global standards by which any website is assessed. We've just made it relevant to the events, to the world of events.
A digital litmus test in many respects.
Yeah, and its intention is not negative at all. Its intention is actually very positive. By using this tool, event businesses can also improve, because what we've omitted to add is that part of the results is a list of tips, how that particular event business that's just been tested, how they can improve their digital presence, and very quick wins, the low-hanging fruit. So the other hand, develop a better digital experience, a digital presence, and be more visible out there, easier to contact.
100%.
Okay, I'm responding to a question here that's coming up, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Right, okay. Where are we at now? So we've addressed this.
Was that a question that you would like to answer in public, or was it a...
No, I think it was coming up my phone here, but it's also come up there. And we've got Derek Hills, who's come.
Hi, Derek. Thanks for checking in.
Yes. Who goes?
So what is Derek's question today?
It looks like it's supplier focused. So if we measure how much traffic my profile is getting in terms of searches, and can you please explain a bit more about the term Eventer score? I think, have we explained the term Eventer score a little bit better? I think
if it's not clear, please let us know. We want that feedback. Even if you tell us, guys, thanks for chatting about Eventer score for 30 minutes, but I have less of an idea what it is now than before you started. We won't be insulted. We will just try harder to make sure that everybody understands. Bottom line is, get the guy you want to use for your event, take his website address, plonk it into the field there like you would do in a tax calculator, but it's only one or two name website, and I'll give you a score. out of 100.
Yeah.
Very easy to understand.
Just that easy. Just to answer Derek's question there for a second, yes, if as a supplier you create a profile in Eventerprise, you can monitor how much traffic your profile is getting. There's an analytics dashboard that comes standard with all Eventerprise profiles. It tells you the amount of traffic you're getting. It tells you who's searching in your particular category. It's telling you who's viewed your profile as well. They'll of course all become sort of sales leads that you can then reach out to and engage with. The one thing to bear in mind, however, is that if you are smart enough to make the right choice and be an Eventerprise premium user, you have an even better chance of landing those leads.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes, landing those sales leads than a basic profile.
Because I think this would be a good opportunity for those of you in the events industry who would like some evidence, because we're talking about evidence for you, but there also needs to be evidence of the Eventerprise platform's usefulness. We've done some case studies with a few event suppliers, and if you want to have a look at how the dashboard works, what was the impact on those businesses on being part of the Eventerprise platform, you can check out, Kirsty will be popping through a link to some of those case studies in a moment. Yep. And if you have any questions, just shoot them through. Shoot them through, yeah. Right.
Okay, is there,
so are we going to summarize? So we do a summary?
Yeah.
If there are no other questions that we need to answer?
Just think now.
Everybody must be totally believing what we say. We must be. We must be very trustworthy people.
I want to be challenged. I really want to be challenged. I want to throw stuff at these guys.
So if it's so quiet out there, does that mean that we are 100% correct?
Yeah.
I mean, we know it.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody out there agrees with us. That's fantastic.
100%.
Okay, Mark, do you want to quickly just sort of summarize this in
So in 1 or 2 sentences? If you organizing an event and you have searched for the suppliers or product vendors on Eventerprise, you found your candidates, now you need to make a decision. There are 3 things that you can look at. First of all, look at their reviews. Secondly, look at all the information on their profile. Do they have product videos? Do they have event videos? Is there evidence of work that they've done before? Are they sharing information with you, with other words? Number 3, are they paying attention to their digital, to the digital experience that they deliver to you? Are they visible on their website? Is the website easy to use, easy to check it out on a mobile phone? And you can use Eventerscore.com in order to check that. Is he listening?
Yeah. No, that's it. As always, Mark has covered all the
bases.
covered all the bases. Yes, but definitely for clients and especially for event suppliers, go to Eventerscore.com. Go and check your rating today. And if you don't agree with it, let us know. And if you do agree with it, take the advice that we offer and help improve it.
Yeah. Love the feedback.
Yeah. Look, the other thing I just want to remind people out there on is that we are really focusing on you, the client. Okay, in these sort of little sessions, we want you to feel that we've got your back. Okay, we have the back of the suppliers, and they're on the platform. That's what we do behind the scenes. But in these videos and in these sort of round tables, rectangular tables, we want you to know that we're thinking of you. So anything you want to add, query, compliment, complain about, or what, it doesn't matter. Throw it into this channel because we'll get it addressed, I promise you, and rectified in many respects.
Absolutely.
All right. So we will be doing this again next week, and we will take you on the 3rd stage of the journey next week, and we'll be discussing the what element next week. Or should we come back to that?
We haven't made a decision on that.
No, this will all be user focused.
But there's a reason for it.
Yeah, sure.
I think we prefer to look at the feedback that we get from you. Yeah. Instead of dictating to you what content you need to watch, tell us what you want to hear, and we'll make work of it.
Okay, that's actually a good point. But irrespective, this is the channel through which you, the client, can feed your feedback or questions through. So until next week, enjoy raising the bar in the industry and keep doing what you're doing. We'll see you then.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Kirsty. I was actually just having a thought.
We're definitely off, are we?